Hey, it's Carl, and tonight I am going to build another tank. It's going to be another nature style aquascape tank, and I'm going to use this 10-inch cube that I've got here. Now this tank was the tank from the very first aquascape I ever did. I think it's the second video on the channel. That's how far back it goes. That was like a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, but kind of got tired of that scape, so I tore it all down and it's time for something new. So I am actually pretty excited to try something I've never done before. This is a totally new build to me, a different style for me, and it's called Iwagumi. Now, I am not an expert on all the intricacies of what an actual Iwagumi is. I'm sure there's more to it than what I know, but my basic understanding of an Iwagumi tank is it's just rock for hardscape, no wood, nothing else, just rock. And generally it's only one type of plant, so it's your rock with a ground cover of some sort. I really like this style of tank. I think it's kind of simple, but kind of intricate at the same time. Like, they really do look good like that. So I'm really excited to build this tank. I've got some cereal stone here. I've got some pots of Monte Carlo, and that's what the ground cover is going to be. So yeah, really looking forward to getting into this tank. So stick with me, we'll see how this tank turns out. So for this build, I am going to use a new product to me. I've had it for a little bit, I just haven't had a chance to really try it out yet, but it's the Fluval Biostratum. So generally for my tank builds, I use the Fluval Plant and Shrimp Stratum, but for this one I do want to try this. The difference is the Fluval Plant and Shrimp Stratum is a little bit bigger. It's a 3 to 5 millimeter particle, whereas this is a 1 to 3 millimeter particle. And this one also has bacteria built into it, so when the water hits the bacteria that's in this bag, it activates it, and it's going to help kickstart the nitrogen cycle and help get this tank going quicker. So pretty excited to try a new product. We'll see how it actually turns out with it, but I'm going to get it in. I'm not going to use a ton to start. I'm going to put in about 1.5 inches or so, just to kind of give me the depth so I can start placing the rocks, but I am going to put in a lot more of it to actually give it some elevation and some height to the tank. But yeah, we'll get a little bit in there first, and then we'll start messing around with the rocks and make sure I have my rock placement all figured out. I have the rock placement pictures on my phone, so I hopefully will kind of get them right, but I don't know that it's going to work exactly the way I had it there because I didn't have the depth of substrate. So we'll get them in and we'll start playing around with them and add substrate where needed. So yeah, first step, let's get some in here. All right. Flip it up a little bit at the back. That might be enough to get started here, so let's get placing some rocks. I really like the height of this one. I think I want more angle to it. Like that. This guy I kind of want on the same angle. Trying to remember how I had this one. So there's the basic layout. I really love this big high one at the back. I think it's going to look really, really good. So my idea is I'm going to fill in a bunch of substrate up here to hill it up and around here. I'll put some cotton down in this corner here and then bank up at the back here too. And then through the middle here and then around the side, I'm going to build it up so it kind of cascades down. And that way with the Monte Carlo, when it grows, it'll look like the plants are all kind of growing down through the valleys or the cracks in the rocks. So I think it's going to look really, really good. So let's get some more substrate in there and get it built up. Now there is a crack on this side here where I do want to build up the substrate at the back here quite a bit so I can have some plants up high. So I do have to fill this crack in at in this corner so all the substrate doesn't flow forward. So I just have some filter wool here. I'm just going to rip up a chunk, kind of tuck it in. And eventually this will all turn kind of a brown color. Or no, I might try and put some rocks in front of it and hide it. But even if you just left the white floss, it doesn't take very long to get all colored and it kind of blends right in. You'll never know it's even there. I think that's got it. So we'll get some more substrate in there now. All right, I'm really liking that. I'm happy with the, I don't know how well you can see the contours to it there. But basically that's what I've got. Brush all the substrate. And once, I know some of these are some of these slopes are pretty extreme, but I think once the plants are rooted in there, I think they will kind of hold the substrate in place. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that this will hold nicely. So I'm extremely happy with the rock layout here. My vision for the tank is kind of coming together. It's looking really good the way I want it to. I can just see how it's going to look with all the Monte Carlo spilling down the slopes there. I think it's going to look really, really good. So I'm pretty excited about this. So I'm going to wet down the substrate now. Just when you get it wet, it kind of holds it together a little bit better, and then it helps you plant in it a little better. It holds the plants in, and just easier to plant in it when it's a little bit wet. So yeah, I'll get it sprayed down. I'm going to get the Monte Carlo and we'll start breaking it into portions and we'll get planting. So for this style of tank, the Iwagumi style tanks, we're only going to use one type of plant to do the ground carpet. So I'm going to use Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo is a really common plant. We use it for ground covers all the time. But it's Micranthemum tweedii Monte Carlo, which is what this plant is. It grows nice and short, creates a nice mat, looks really, really good. You do have to keep it trimmed down because if it gets too deep, it'll actually start to let go from the substrate and float up. So you got to trim it down once in a while to keep it fairly short, but that's pretty easy to do, and I just really, really like the look of it. So I'm going to be using the Tropica tissue culture cups, the 1-2 grow in vitro type plants, so there's no algae, no snails, no nothing like that. This is a fresh build, so hopefully I don't get any snails in it that way, because I got some snails in the last ones by introducing different plants, and it's not the end of the world having snails in there, but I'm going to kind of avoid it if I can. So I'm going to break them all up into little segments and then plant them as individual little clumps, and then over time, hopefully in a few weeks or a month or whatever, they're going to grow together and create the mat. So I'm going to plant a little more densely than I would in a home type aquarium. I wouldn't buy so many pots of plants to do it, but because this is going to be in the store and I do want to show you guys the finished product a little bit quicker, I'm going to plant it quite heavily, and then hopefully it'll grow in a little quicker that way. All right, so I'm just going to peel off of the top here and grab out the plants. I'm going to drain off most of that liquid there, and I'm going to give it a quick rinse, kind of get a lot of that junk out of there. All right, so then I'm just going to kind of pull it into little segments. Just pull it apart, these little segments like this. That one's pretty big. Don't want them too big. So that's about 14 different segments out of that one. I'm going to plant them first, and then we'll see how many more pots we have to do. But I am going to plant them pretty close together so that it'll grow in a little quicker, so you can see the finished product a little quicker. So let's get planting. So. There, that's about right. I'm also going to get the light on it now so we can see what we're doing a little bit better. So tank's in place, lights on. I'm just using the same Fluval Nano that I had on it already. That's the original light that was on it. And it did a great job. I was really happy with the growth. It grew the Monte Carlo ground carpet in the first aquascape really well. So I'm assuming it's going to do the same now with this new substrate and everything. I think it'll work really good with that. It's all controlled with an app. There's so much you can do with that light. You can control the colors, the percentage of each color, the brightness of everything. There's some different presets for ramping up in the morning, in the evening, and all that kind of stuff. I don't do a lot of that. Once I get the light set the way I want it, I just use the app to turn it on and off. But yeah, I just get to open up the app. I've got it right there. I just hit power button and we lit it right up. So now I'm going to plant it. I'm pretty excited to get planted here. So I just grab a little clump like that. I kind of roll it a little bit there and then grab it with the tongs like so, and then right into there. I'm going to plant it really deep too, just like so. So there's just a little bit sticking out there, and we'll just repeat that over and over again. So. All right, well, I got it all planted now. That's 3 pots in there. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it is fairly densely planted, so should fill in pretty quick. So yeah, excited to see how it grows. So gonna get it filled up now and get the filter on. So I'm very lucky in that I have a filter that's fully cycled already. I just pulled this tank out, or this filter out of the tank this morning when I tore it down, kept the sponge wet all day, and now I'm just gonna pop it right back in. So this tank will be fully cycled pretty much immediately. And then add to the fact that there is bacteria built into the substrate already, this tank's gonna have really good water quality right away. So hopefully that just helps it grow in even faster. I haven't decided what I'm putting in it for livestock, or if I will. There'll be some shrimp of some sort for sure, but I haven't figured out the fish yet, so you'll have to see that at the end of the video, what I actually end up putting in it. But yeah, gonna get the filter on. I'll also hook up the CO2 unit. I have one of the small 90-gram Fluval CO2 units that I'm gonna put back on the tank as well. So I'll get those all hooked up, and then I'll give you a good look at the tank the way it is right now, and then we'll revisit it once it's all grown in a couple of weeks, and I'll show you that. Well, there it is, looking good. It has really filled in quite nicely. That Monte Carlo is spread into a nice thick carpet. I stocked the tank with some red rilly shrimp, and the red rilly shrimp population has just exploded. It's gone crazy. Only problem is snail population has also exploded. So I put in some assassin snails to help keep those snails under control. They must have hitched it in on the filter when I put the old filter media in. But yeah, so the assassins are keeping them under control pretty good. CO2's pumping out really good, growing the plants real well. I used the Ista diffuser for this one, and it's working really well. Yeah, you can see them pumping out a little snail on there too. There's just so many of them. But yeah, keeping the levels at a nice green color there, keeping them at a good level. You can see the roots are really digging into the soil there and creeping down into the substrate. But yeah, lots of purling going on. It's just doing really, really well. Well, I'm really happy with how that turned out. That's my first shot at an Iwagumi style tank, and I'm really happy with the results. It filled in really, really nicely. The rock work, it kind of works good for that small little tank. I think I wouldn't want anything more in there. It looks good the way it is. So really, really happy with the way it turned out. So I hope you enjoyed that quick little build video. I hope you subscribe to the channel for more videos like that, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.